Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Second Chances. Today, what are we talking about, Casey?
Mystery Men. Oh.
Good. We didn't even rehearse that either. That was pretty good. Thanks. And I'm not doing it again. That's my new catchphrase on the channel, by the way.
I'm not doing it
I'm not
again.
doing it again. We'll start over here to my left. Anna, what is your, prior to watching it again this week, what is your experience with Mystery? When was the last time you saw it?
I think maybe college.
That far back?
It might have been college. I might have seen it again. I might have been inebriated at the time. I don't know. But watching it back in college, I remember enjoying it. I remember all of my friends also enjoying it. We had a fun time talking about it. Fun time, just enjoyable.
Casey, you gushed already once.
Yeah, I love this movie.
Okay.
I have it on digital video disc.
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah. And I always found it so charming when I first saw it, and at least once a year I'm begging someone to give it a chance. So I'm really excited that we get to talk about it. Mass communication style.
Oh, good. T, have you ever seen it before?
Here's the deal. I thought I had. I had not.
Turns out, no.
It's one of those movies that I guess I was so familiar with it and remembered it coming out so vividly, and I knew everyone who was in it and kind of what the premise was, but I never actually saw it until yesterday.
Well, because the cast is, Ben
It's
Stiller,
stacked.
Geoffrey Rush,
Hank
Azaria.
doing a voice that
Greg-
sounds like it should be something on The Simpsons.
Right,
by the way.
right. That was like the only voice he had
hadn't used.
Because he reused a very similar one when he was a Night at the Museum, too.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the only one that's not on The Simpsons. But yeah, the cast is amazing. And I remember they marketed the living crap out of this movie.
Yeah.
Like I remember back in '99, everywhere I looked, it was Mystery Men. Okay, so we all watched it again. And I was really surprised at visually how cool the movie was.
Yeah.
Because the movie, it's sort of, it was made in 1999, and it's sort of like half Blade Runner, half Batman Forever.
Yeah.
You know, because it came out after Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, so it had a very Joel Schumacher Batman vibe. But then also like the wides and everything looked like they ripped off Blade Runner completely. And actually, in digging around online a little bit, they actually used some of the sets from Batman Forever. So I was like, haha.
I mean, I agree with you visually. I do think that it looks really cool, but for some reason, I just found the movie meh. I enjoy the people in it, and my memories of it are just, I think they were just much better than I found it. I got a little bored.
Well, it is super 90s though. Like,
God,
and it
Smash Mouth?
feels, I mean, legit. The moment I heard, hey now, I was just like, oh God, here we go. And luckily, I don't think they even played it very long, but like that was when it really went over the edge of being like the most 90s movie that ever 90s. And also a lot of the stylistic choices, because I kind of forget that 90s movies, there was a trend of having characters talk directly to the camera when they were speaking to another character. So there's like sequences where two characters are both talking to camera, and we're sort of like, getting both point of views, essentially.
We're just standing in between these
and
people
turning
as they're
around.
talking.
Maybe that's
It was very strange. Instead of over the shoulders, they were
But
just
it's
people
super 90s,
staring.
because I mean they did that in Silence of the Lambs, which I happened to rewatch recently, and like quite a few other 90s movies. It's lots of like Philadelphia they did, like it's all over the place in 90s movies.
Let's then talk about some of the characters, because I think, and one of the reasons that we chose this movie to talk about this particular week is because Deadpool just came out. And Deadpool is a very meta, self-referential superhero movie. And that's essentially what Mystery Men is. Like a lot of the DNA between Deadpool and Mystery Men is pretty similar. Like, because I think the problem with Mystery Men was that it came out in 1999. And at that, X-Men came out in 2000, a year later, and that's when everybody was like, oh, I guess we're allowed to take comic book movies seriously. So there wasn't really a superhero genre to make fun of.
Yeah, and then there were a lot of comic book tropes that they would comment on, but audiences weren't as familiar with comics.
I totally
then.
got when I watched it this week. But like back in, I thought it was just kind of, because I legitimately thought it was a stupid movie back when I watched it, and, when it came out. But I enjoyed it this time because I understand all of those tropes now.
Yeah, I think I actually enjoyed the kind of self-referential nature of it because I didn't feel like it was so overdone and ham-fisted, where now you feel like characters in the movie are literally like, I know, that was funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's gross. And I don't feel like this movie had that. I feel like they were still very much grounded within the reality of their own movie, and it wasn't so meta that it was just like self-congratulatory.
Well, I think it helps that the script was garbage.
Yeah.
And all the actors were like, well, we can't do this. So then it was a lot of improvisation. That word.
Improvisation.
Thank you. So they made stuff up. And so I think that's what makes it feel very real and organic, and not too like wink, wink. I'm the writer. Look at my words, kind of stuff.
The other thing I think that kept it grounded is like the message of the movie. In particular, I really enjoyed William H. Macy's The Shoveler.
Yeah.
And like the idea that anybody can be a superhero, anybody can be super heroic at whatever you happen to be good at.
I mean, I think one of the things though is that like the movie really was ahead of its time, but since then other movies have done kind of the same thing. So I think if you have someone maybe watching it for the first time now, they'll be like, oh, I already saw that stuff done in this movie, that movie, the other movie, you know? I think that's part of the problem that I had with it now. It's like looking at it back in context of when I originally saw it, it's like I can understand why I really enjoyed it. And then looking at it now, it's like, yeah, I've seen so much of this now.
Yeah.
So much of it, and the people that have done it since, you think have done it better?
Sometimes, yeah. I do really like the characters in it. Like they are really fun, and they're played so well by the actors.
Yeah.
It's just for some reason it just fell flat for me this time.
I hear you. I think, coming from the perspective of someone who was seeing it for the first time, I think I was able to kind of try to put myself in a mindset of when it was made. And I don't think I loved it as much as either of these two guys, but I can appreciate it for what it was and also for how ahead of its time it was in a weird way. Like now it seems kind of played out, a lot of the jokes and style choices, but it was definitely not played out when it was made.
Yeah.
Well, see, and when I look at it, I look at it less like a comic book superhero parody movie and just more like a character piece. You have all these characters. They don't have grand superpowers. They're regular people, and they each have their own little problem or neuroses. You got the shoveler he's a family man. He's a good husband and father. But it's like, no, he has to be even more than that to protect his family. He has to protect the whole city. Mr. Furious, he's got this like self-identity crisis kind of thing going on and a bit of delusion there. And
I love the Blue Raja.
the Blue Raja is, he's like living under the thumb of his mother and not really being able to be out of like who he really is and who he wants to be. So you have all these things going
Even
around.
the
It's
villain,
great.
like Casanova Frankenstein, is maybe the best character name
So
I've ever
good.
heard.
And he's essentially the same character from Quills,
Yeah.
Right.
but with a crack nail.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
Greg Kinnear too, Captain
Amazing.
Amazing, is actually like kind of the bad guy of the story in a lot of ways because he's such a douche.
He represents like the Schumacher Batman movies to me. He's like a big cash grab piece of shit guy.
Yeah, all of his sponsors like all over his suit.
And so the mystery men literally psychofraculate his ass.
Yeah.
And it's just like, those movies.
those
You know?
movies.
And I was
We're
like,
doing something else.
Yeah, you're right.
The other interesting thing I think about the timing of this movie is Galaxy Quest came out the same year. Galaxy
So
Quest came out in
good.
1999.
I
Interesting.
didn't realize that.
It's
year
the
of
exact,
subversion.
Yeah, exactly. It's the exact same movie except doing it with Star Trek instead of comic book movies. And I much prefer Galaxy Quest. I think it's just a more solid movie all the way around.
Haven't seen that either.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Although for a long time I thought I had.
I've seen that movie so many times. That one, that is
was
a
great.
must-see.
So movies like that, and I think Mystery Men falls into that category, along with a movie like Last Action Hero. Because Last Action Hero was making fun of action movies when we were all still super in love with action movies and didn't want to make fun of them. So that movie was sort of ahead of its time in how it was, the type of comedy that it was doing. So I really do feel like Mystery Men falls in line with those two. I definitely rank it third out of those three.
But I think that's why it's important to watch Mystery Men at this point because, we've been in this really long superhero bubble and it's getting really
ending
dark
anytime soon.
and like serious and everything's, we have to take everything so very seriously. It's like, man, I'm ready to just laugh with my superheroes again. And that's why Deadpool was so
did so well.
refreshing. So
Yeah.
it's like, I think it's time to come back
And
to
I
Mystery
even
Men.
would say the same is true about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
I think that was another one where, it's not like a hard R comedy or anything, but that same sort of attitude of just like, look, it's a f***ing comic book. Like, let's have fun.
Right.
Okay, well, we've spent the past several minutes more or less just gushing about this movie, so it's second chance.
I'm kind of on the fence.
Kind of a meh.
Yeah, kind of meh.
Just go see Deadpool again.
Yes. Go see
Notice
Deadpool
you're still
again.
wearing red and black. This is in celebration
Oh
of
my God,
Deadpool.
I love Deadpool.
Casey, obviously, your annual bout of everybody go watch Mystery Men.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna send out invites. We're gonna have a party. There's gonna be dip. It's gonna be great.
T, what did you think?
My answer is see it if it's convenient to you. So if you're scrolling through the old Netflix or if you're at the old Redbox, you're like, Mystery Men.
Mystery Men.
Yeah, all right. That should be your reaction. But like, don't go out of your way to like find a Blockbuster or some.
Well, definitely don't do that.
Go back in time
Definitely don't
to
do
find a
that.
blockbuster.
But yeah, I gotta say, watch it again. I think if you watched it back in the day and didn't like it all that much, like give it another shot, and it makes a lot more sense now. Now that the genre it's making fun of is actually a thriving genre, like it actually makes sense.
And don't forget to stay tuned for the post-credits scene. Just kidding.
No.
It was the 90s. They didn't have post-credits.
They didn't have post-credits. It's so old, it doesn't even have a post-credit scene. Whoa! Oh my god. All right, everybody, get down in the comments. Let us know if you've seen Mystery Men recently, or if you plan to watch it again based on us being actually really nice about Mystery Men.
Well, because Casey didn't hate it.
The worst we got was a meh. Get down there, let us know what you think about Mystery Men. Also, let us know what other movies you think deserve second chance. Click like and subscribe. Stick around CineFix for more movie stuff all the time, all the ways. I'm not doing that again.
Nor should you.